There's one thing that almost everyone misses when it comes to increasing their show rate, and it makes all the difference. If you're sick of no-shows or last-minute cancellations, then stick around because I'm going to show you the strategy that quietly doubled my numbers when it comes to actually getting people who scheduled to show up to the call. Now, let's imagine for a minute on the left side we have the first touch point that somebody comes in contact with you. This might be an ad, this might be a piece of content. And then on the right side, we actually have like where the exchange of value is. So this is typically on the sales call after they've decided that they want to work with you. So they give you money and you give them some sort of value, whether that's services or information. And so there's been this exchange of value. Now, most people think it's like this. They see an ad, let's just use an ad for this example, and then they immediately schedule a call. So they click on the ad, they schedule a call, and then they show up to the sales call and there's some sort of exchange of value. And that's just not how it works. The difference between a warm lead and a cold lead showing up at this point is strictly how many resonating and valuable touch points they have before they get to the sales call. So let me say that again. The difference between a warm lead and a cold lead is strictly the number of resonating, valuable touch points that they have from the moment of first touch to when they show up to the call. So that begs the question of, okay, how can I make sure that they have a high number of valuable touch points before they show up to the call? Well, you can do that in various different ways. One of them can be through content, through email, through nurture, but the goal is strictly to increase and maximize the number of touch points that have resonating value to them. So think of this like a Netflix binge. Netflix has this study, if somebody binges at least 3 episodes in a row, they are 10 times more likely to finish the season of that particular show. Same thing with your content and with your sales process. If you can get somebody to binge your information, your theory, your content, they are much more likely to convert. And when they actually show up, they're already pre-sold. And so what ends up happening is that sales call really turns into a quick Q&A and onboarding. Over the last 12 months, I booked more than 3,000 appointments, and there's one strategy that has worked best of all, which is right after somebody books an appointment with me, I send them what I call a Loom before Zoom strategy or video, which is a 3-minute video that essentially pre-frames and pre-educates them before they show up to the call. They're required to watch it, and it covers exactly the problem that I solve, the outcome I'm going to get for them, and exactly the plan or the path that I'm going to take them on to get them there. So that way, when they show up to the call, they're pre-educated, they are pre-framed, and they know exactly how I'm getting them a specific outcome. Now, there's many other ways that you can do this. We can do this through testimonial videos, sending them resources, links. But again, the idea is we strictly want to increase the number of touch points from first touch to when they show up on the call. If you can increase the number of valuable, resonating touch points, then they will be so much more likely to convert into your service or product. So think of it this way. Would you rather have somebody show up to a sales call having seen an ad, maybe a VSL or 1 video? Or would you rather have them show up having watched 3 YouTube videos or long form videos, 10 testimonials, and multiple emails with links to different resources that would just generally help them for free? Oh, I don't know about you, I'd rather have the latter. What you'll find when you do this properly is when they show up to the call, there's really not that much selling that needs to be done. And it's really just a formal point in the process where it becomes an onboarding call. So it kind of becomes a little bit of a Q&A where they might ask a couple of questions, really just make sure it's a good fit for them personally, and then they're getting started. So if all the people that are showing up to the sales call are no-showing, asking questions for 60 minutes only to then hear, I need to think about it, then chances are they're not getting pre-educated along this process, and they're probably just showing up from an ad, having 1 touch point on the calendar, and then some 24, 48-hour meeting reminders, and then showing up to the sales call with, hey, I think this guy can help me with something, but I don't know exactly how. And that's really where it ultimately becomes a sales call. So if you want to increase your show rate, increase your close rate, look at the number of touch points that somebody has before they show up to a sales call. Find ways to increase that through various methods I told you, and you'll find pretty quickly that people are showing up a lot more pre-educated and have a better understanding of how you're going to get them a specific outcome. And if you like this video, you'll probably like this one where I talk about the exact ad funnel that we use to collect $227,000. In 109 days, I go through the exact ads, the funnel, everything. So go check that out. And if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing.